And checking. Everything should be working fine. Making sure camera focus is good. Camera focus should be good. Cool. That is working cool. Let's make sure it is loading up so everybody can get in the room. Ha! There it is. I see you. Come to me, little video. Little video live stream, come to me. Alright. I'll pop this out. Sound is coming through. That's good. And I ditch that. And we're going to... I know people are probably going to jump into the room as we go. So I'm actually going to, once we're up and running, I am going to just crack on into this pretty quickly. Alright, so... I will answer questions as I go. Please chat. Please chat. I get lonely. That sounds desperate. There we go. Oh dear. All right. Sorry about that. My little joke. Anyway, I'm going to get started. We've been running for about 2 minutes. People can jump in as we go. Hi, welcome to How to D&D. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today I'm not talking about Dungeons and Dragons. I am going to make a cheap, or try to finish making a cheap D&D miniature, or Dungeons and Dragons miniature. This is my purple worm mouth. I'm not making the full-blown monster. I am just making the mouth. And this is the structure we have so far. We're going to put some teeth on it, put some stones around it today, and it will fit a miniature inside it, as you can see. And I'm going to do 2 rows of teeth. I think 2 rows of teeth should be reasonably entertaining, and it should be fairly simple for anybody to make, in comparison to trying to make something like a full-blown purple worm. A full-blown purple worm, a lot of assembly, a lot of materials, and honestly I think it's a bit impractical for most people to try to make. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to make this instead. As I'm going, I am quite happy to talk to people about Dungeons and Dragons. Any questions you might have, throw them up there, that's not a problem. But yes, this, I'm only making something like this if somebody, well, a good portion of people say in the comments that they really want me to do this because they want to make one, because this is quite a time-consuming process. It would literally take me 10 hours, which is why we're just going with the mouth, some teeth, and a bit of broken ground around it. So what are my materials for today? Basically, I have a cutting knife. I just got myself one of those Stanley classic cutting knives, got a heavy blade in it. I went into the garden and I collected up a whole lot of stones, which I'm going to glue around the outside with my hot glue gun. Various sizes, I just clean them in some water. I've got toothpicks to create the teeth, and two rows of teeth, one short, one long. I've got my milliput just in case I make an error or create a hole and I need to fill it. I've got another glue stick, well actually I've got many glue sticks. I've got myself a craft drill, or you could use any kind of drill you like. You can buy those egg beater drills from the hardware stores. This is just a little hand drill, it's a citadel drill, and I've got my modelling tools as well, which I'm just going to just shuffle those out of the way. And this is actually what I'm using. I'll put that there, get rid of the glue stick. All of the materials and tools that I'm using today are in the description, so you do not need to worry about them not being present. You will be able to find them, not hard at all. Okay, so my first job is, as I said, this is my design. It's very, very simple and just a rough sketch of what it is. So let's get rid of that miniature because that miniature is just going to get in the way. And I need to get myself into a much better position, a lot closer than I currently am. And I'll just move that gun just a little bit further over, just so I don't burn myself. I don't need it just yet. We can use that in a second. Okay, so my first job, I feel like, is not to actually put the teeth in. I want to put in these little stones. I want to mount these around the outside edge and create some, well, the appearance that it's broken out of the ground. And I think that's probably the easiest way to do it. So it's hot glue gun and a tool so I can sort of nudge things around if necessary, which is what I'm going to use the sculpting tools with. You could use anything. You could just use like a wooden skewer if you wanted to, not an issue. And I'm just going to glue these around the outside edge with my glue gun. First step. So just apply a little bit of glue and attach there. Now if you're not happy about how it's attached, you can just build your glue up around it and make it look more like it should be there. But I'm just going to literally just go around the outside edge, attaching little stones like so. And a big flat one. Can I get a, yep, I can get that in there. That'll work. So we'll just apply a bit of glue here like so, and then stick that on. You could use sand. As I said, I just went into the garden and found some stones, and I'm going to just glue them on in roughly sort of any manner. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to be too fancy about how you apply these things. They are just stones after all. It's just to give it the effect that it is breaking out of the ground. And another one there. Now you can go and buy stones from your craft store if you really wanted to, but why would you bother when you can just go straight into the garden and just grab a whole bunch? Don't think it's actually a very sensible idea to go and buy sand. Get sand from the beach. So why would you buy sand when you can just go get some from a beach, and stones straight off the driveway or the garden, and you're away. Like that. And we keep going around. I feel like, is that going to fit there properly? Use a different one. I'll use that one there. Applied, and just make sure you get them on nice and quick before the glue sets. Now I can go back over these once they're attached and apply glue just to give it more of a sort of earthy look. You could also, like I said, use some sort of grit, your own sand. I don't have some sand with me, unfortunately. I haven't been to the beach recently. There we go. But I think the rocks will give you the idea of something breaking out of the ground. And I feel like that it's almost like a pebble rather than a stone, but I'm not going to worry about it. Go. Easy peasy stuff, right? Hopefully I've got enough stones to get all the way around. Okay. Everybody's very quiet today. I've noticed a lot of my live streams, everybody goes completely silent. You're either watching something on your phone and or you're doing something else at the same time. I'm hoping that this time frame is good for people. I kind of did check the world clock, and it does seem to coincide with most people who are about half of this United States is to be about dinner time, and I think part of Canada would probably, it's still about the afternoon unfortunately, but there's not much I can do about that. It's about what, 1:40 PM in New Zealand here, so it's a really hot part of the day, so it's a good time for me to go and just do something like this. Okay, we're getting there. Just keep building them up, working my way around like so. Super simple. I feel like that stone is just too big, so we're going to go for something smaller. Yeah, little small ones around that side, I think, just because it's so close to the edge. I don't think it really matters if there's a bit of spill over the base anyway, but these flatter ones here, yep. And attach. Cool. Just get rid of the stringy bits. Where are we? Oh. And attach. Trying to work reasonably quickly. I started running my Tuesday game. We had a game last Tuesday. The party are playing a campaign called Zenith Knights, and they are dealing with Modrons at the request of one of the players. So I thought, okay, yeah, we can do Modrons, not a problem. And it's been interesting. I was a little bit worried initially because there was a lot of exploration, and I was not entirely sure if they would be pleased to be doing as much exploration and a lot less combat, particularly when they were starting out at level 1. But you know, one of the things about starting out at level 1 when you're playing Dungeons and Dragons is that you really don't want to be throwing the combat stuff. You know, RPG sort of stuff, completing objectives, things like that. All really good ideas when you're starting out, rather than going straight for the combat stuff where they can get into trouble, particularly at low level. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just run a bead of glue around the outside, sort of mesh it all in a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't spill over too much. So I'm just filling it in a little bit just to make sure that my stones stay in place and it sort of looks a little bit like it is part of the actual miniature. There we go, like so. And it's hot glue, so it's very, very cheap. You can just apply as much as you like. I'll just move this over into the center of it. Sorry guys. There we go, and I'm just going to give that a blow before I go too far around. It is starting to set, hopefully. I feel like that is definitely starting to set there. Still a bit soft, but we can keep going, so we will. We've got lots to do. I've got to drill a lot of holes, insert a lot of toothpicks. Come on, squeeze it. So yes, today I lost access to the cafe where we used to play, and now we're playing in the Bristow Chancery restaurant, bar and cafe. Not really my first choice as a location. I find that my players do like playing in a place where they can order food, but this place is a bit on the expensive side, and I also think that those people in the area are probably looking on us as being just some sort of strange people and a little bit confused as to why we're there. So yeah, not exactly the best environment, but I'm just waiting for the upgrades to the old location, and provided the owners aren't against it, hopefully we can go back there. Now you'll notice that I didn't worry about putting glue on the inside section, just on the outside. Okay, so I'm going to let that set. I'm going to move the glue gun out of the way so I can't burn myself while we're doing the drilling. And I'm just going to grab a drink of water. Right, okay, so next my drill. We've got to make sure that when we're inserting our toothpicks that we're getting the right size. So this is a fancy little thing. It actually keeps drill bits inside it, which I think is awesome. So I'm just going to unravel it. So there's a small drill bit there. I just got to match it up with whatever size my toothpicks are. And when we do insert our toothpicks, we're going to do a row which is sort of on near the inside and one that's slightly off to the outside. So 2 rows of teeth. So I've got to find one that is roughly the same size as that. That's certainly not going to work. I'll put it back inside there because that's the one I use when I'm using the paper clips. Those heavy duty paper clips that I tend to use quite a lot. Right. And then let's pull this off. Just find one the right size. Hopefully there is. That larger size is probably the one. Although I do get the distinct feeling that it might actually be just fractionally small. Well, there might be a bit of forcing going on. I might have to do a little bit of wiggling to make it work. Alright. Let's close that up. Really cool, these things. I only just recently bought one. But essentially it's just, you just turn it by hand. It's awesome. And I got to fit this thing in there, and I believe I was using the smaller size, so I've got to unscrew this. It's got a double tooth system on it. So there's the front, but this is the chuck. You just pull it out, turn it round to accept a larger size drill bit. This one is for the smaller drill bits, and you insert it. Very, very simple construction. Nothing really complicated about it, really, but it works well. A little bit more expensive than the other craft drills that I was looking at purchasing, but I think it was still the right decision. There we go. Well, it sounds like the local fire brigade is just going bananas, and somebody's either got a fire or they've had a crash. Okay, so now that we're at that point, it's time to start drilling some holes. Now I'm gonna just grab a pencil and mark a few holes, and I'm gonna stagger them. So pencil mark here, and you don't want the toothpicks to necessarily be sticking completely out, straight up. They're going to be sticking out but off to the side a little bit. You still want to be able to get the miniature into there so you can sit inside, but I don't want it to be too much, otherwise it's going to be a real hassle and you'll wind up going to reach for it and stab yourself. And then we don't want that. It'd be bad. Okay. Alright, and keep working my way around. Okay, so let's drill those holes. They shouldn't be too hard. I've just got to get through the putty and then into the tin foil. The tin foil will be pretty soft, I'd imagine. Oh, I must have made a very thick layer of putty to get. Alright. So I can actually insert quite some distance if I need to. It makes them stronger too. Okay, and drill. Slight angle, and just keep turning. Now they just punch through, and we just shuffle it around. I'll go down as deep as I can. Right, let's just see if this is going to work. These holes yeah, it's going to be a very tight fit. I might have to go back towards some of these holes and just hollow them out a little bit more. So you don't have to put as many teeth into your purple worm as I am. You could create a lot less. You don't have to go with quite as many. It's really it's your personal preference. There we go. So I have been releasing a few more of my Dungeons and Dragons How to Play the Wizard videos rather than releasing them all sort of staggered when I got a chance. I have been trying to put a bit of effort into releasing them a bit sooner. There's so many videos on how to play the game now, so I'm trying to keep up with all of that. It's not exactly very easy though. Hopefully you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. I am trying to make sure that it's angled in such a way that you can see. I've still got a holder, unfortunately. So we're almost round for the first layer on the inside. There we go. 3 more holes for the inside, and then we're on to the outside. Oh, it's a little bit thinner there. There we go, good. Some of the tin foil is coming out when I'm drilling, by the way. If you're wondering what that silver stuff is, it's not the drill bit coming apart. It's just the tin foil that's inside. And keep going. Now I didn't actually think of doing this until, I think it was like just near the end of the video when I was finishing up, and I was thinking, oh, how am I going to get these things to actually attach? Because I'd seen, this is actually based off DM Scotty's design, just for the mouth section. I thought, well, you know, just the way that he's designed his purple worm, which you can see on his channel, you could literally just do the front bit, the first bit that he started doing, and you've essentially got the mouth of a purple worm, and that would be enough. So I think that was very, very cool. But because I'm using a slightly different construction method, I'm not doing paper mache or white glue, no PVA glue involved. My method of construction has to be slightly different. So you'll see that these marks are on the outside and they're in between the other teeth, and I'm doing that deliberately. One, that'll make it easier for me to drill them all out, and two, I won't wind up with 2 holes too close to each other, which just means that there's a risk of there being a bit of a punch through, or suddenly you've got a larger hole than you really need. Okay, so do the same thing as I did before. This time I'll just make sure I've got it so you can see. Sorry guys, I've got to make sure it's in the front, don't I? Okay, this one's going to be almost straight down to begin with anyway, and then I'm going to change the angle and point it slightly inward, like so. Here we go, that's one, only a whole bunch more left to go. It's getting the hole started that's the hardest bit. I was also thinking about what I can do with these Livestream monster construction videos, because they are quite long, and although it's great for somebody to be able to watch the process, I certainly don't think that's a good idea to go back and edit them, because it would just be too many hours worth of footage to try to chop my way through. But if I do get time and the video does all right, then I was thinking what I can do is, because it's reasonably simple, is just download it from the live stream off YouTube, shrink it down in size, like put it through a time lapse, which is a very simple process, and it's just about leaving it to do its own thing, and you just wait for it to compile, and then coming back, and then once I've done that, stringing it all together, putting some music to it, putting a intro video. You know, you guys have seen my intro videos if you've watched my channel, and then once I've done that, put like some credits at the end, and then just maybe some captions over it, and that's it. Might take a little bit of time, but if I get any of these monster making videos, they do well, then I will take a bit of time to actually turn them into a sort of a time-lapsed music video of some kind. It's working out pretty well so far. The only hassle will be if I have teeth that are not going to fit in the holes, because the holes aren't big enough, because the drill bit's not quite large enough. It's wood, so I should be able to sort of push it through. Maybe trim things. I don't really want to have to spend too much time trimming stuff if I can help it. Oh. There we go. 2 more. Doesn't look like hard work, but trust me, it's actually pretty difficult. Maybe just with the sheer number of holes I've had to create, but keep going. And in we go. Alright, I'm going to get rid of all of the excess bits and pieces into a container along with my rocks. I think that's probably the best place to stick it for now. All little shavings. Because there's lots of little pieces there. And move that out of the way. Get rid of my pencil. And I wonder if I could just move this and bend it, and then just funnel it all in. There we go. Not too bad. Cleaned up all right. Just don't want all these little pieces sticking to the glue as we work. All right. Sorry about that, it's a little bit of a blur on the camera. It will eventually right itself. And just give me a second while I just take a breather and have a glass of water. And to make sure it's straight enough, I guess. If it's not straight enough, I'll certainly know about it, won't I? Okay, I just readjust it. OBS, it's a better view. I get more quicker response in terms of what's going on. Okay, here it is. Got a whole bunch of toothpicks. We're going to be having to use a knife. I'll get rid of this for now, out of the way. Knife, toothpicks, and what I want to do is cut them off and then jam them in the holes. And I want a pointy bit at the end rather than just a stumpy piece. Now if you're worried about stabbing yourself with these things, then you just need to make the teeth a little bit less sharp. These are toothpicks, so they are blunted. It's not like they're going to do an awful lot of damage to you, but if you feel they're not blunt enough, you can take them down a bit more. And just cut off the tip, or reverse it and stick the pointy bit in, and then just cut off at the top and you've got a stumpy bit. It's up to you. Okay, so let's start off with trying to put in a row of teeth that is reasonably short. So I'm going to feed them in quite a long way. I'm going to cut it in half. It's a good thing I brought the heavy blade because that was hard to cut. And will it go in? No. So I need to get my drill, and I will actually have to. So normally when I have a hole that's not quite the right size, I will just wiggle it around my drill bit, and it actually will carve out the sides a bit, which is exactly what I just did. And now it's going to fit, and I can drive that down quite a fair distance. So that's essentially what we're trying to achieve on the first row. Okay, so I'm going to pull that out, and I will have to go around and do the same thing with all those. Sorry about that, we've got a little bit more mucking around with the holes. I'm going to do all of them fairly quickly, and that way we can just cut a whole lot of teeth and then just glue the whole lot in nice and fast. Okay. Now it probably won't matter too much if the hole is slightly too big, but too small is going to be an issue. This milliput isn't really that flexible. And just work my way around. Super simple. Super simple. Okay, and one more here. That's the inside holes mostly carved out. The reason I want to carve the holes out first before I start feeding things in is mainly because it's going to be too hard to get at them after that. There'll be little sticks poking out. Okay, good. This is really the last stage. Putting the teeth in is like the last stage in this process. There's not an awful lot left to do after this other than let it set, and then when you get a chance to paint it all up. And you can do other things to it if you really wanted to, but keep it simple. If you keep it simple, it'll be cheaper to make, and it'll also be easier for you to actually pull off. Let's keep going a little bit further. Alright. Alright, that's all good. I had my little container here. I'll just sort of sprinkle a little bits that are left over. And I wonder if I could just brush it off. Hang on. Just brush it this way. And then off onto the table. And then into my little container. Cool. Alright, now let's clean all that up. That should accept all of our pieces now. I'm just going to just clean around the holes just quickly. Okay. Alright, so let's get started cutting some toothpicks. So I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 10, 11 the outside and the inside. So let's start cutting toothpicks in half. There we go. That's 4. That one's a little bit weird. Six. 8 and 10. Alright, so we've got some teeth to put in. Make sure you got a tool close by for wiggling things around if you need to. Get my hot glue gun back again. This is the exciting bit, right? Because I'm going to start gluing stuff in. So run the glue along the edge of your toothpick like so. not in the hole because it's not going to go in anyway. Feed it in, and there should be a whole lot of glue that'll sort of blobby up, which doesn't matter. And we feed in our tooth, and then we get our tool, and we can just spread that glue like so, as if it was putty. And I can cut that off later if I need to. I'm going to go around the whole thing anyway at some point with a hot glue gun, but yeah. So that is in. I probably don't need to use quite as much on the next one. Let's do a quick dry fit. And I want the teeth to be roughly the same distance out of the hole. So and nice and quick. About there. Get my tool. Spread the glue. Don't get it into the holes that you're going to need later on. That's another one done. How's it going, Charlie? How's your day going, Charlie? Mine has been, well, it's been interesting. I got up early and I sprayed all my weeds, and my whole place is just covered in weeds, so that took a long time. We are currently trying to put the teeth in to a purple worm. There we go. And get my tool and then spread that glue very quickly before it sets. Okay, cool. That's that. 3. So just going to be a process of going right around the whole thing, attaching and inserting teeth. Now they don't need to be pointing in exactly the same direction, they can be slightly off. Ramming speed. There we go. Is it going to go in? It's not going in that hole. I should have did a dry fit first. Okay, pushing hard. And just work my way around and just push the glue out of the way. You can go around here and cut it away with a knife if you really wanted to, but it's not really necessary. Okay, I'm going to make sure this hole here wasn't quite accepting my toothpick, so I'm going to make sure I got one the right size this time. Okay, that looks alright. We'll go back to that. What's that, Charlie? Went to nursing school and now getting to party with some awesome D&D tutorials. The day before a big exam. Oh, you got an exam? Oh gosh, okay. Trying to expand my list of things to do during any downtime I can find. Fair enough, why not? Okay. So let's run our glue along here. I'm just trying to get just a small amount on, so there's less to clear away, and then in the hole, push hard, and the tool, spread the glue, like so. Drying very, very fast. Okay. Now, if you're worried about the toothpicks going too far in and then your little person doesn't fit, then do a test fit. Okay. It's always not going to be an issue if you do a test fit. This is a fairly unusually wide miniature, so it's not like your standard size anyway. Okay, that went in. That's good. I'll do that. And done. Try not to get myself stuck to it. going to clean the glue away, just spread it. Cool, done. Easy peasies. Another test fit. Yep, it's good. Oops, sorry about that. Okay. And it's so warm where I am right now. It's really, really hot. Oh. No, I think that tooth is going to be staying that deep. I might have pushed just a little bit too far, but never mind. Okay. That's another one down. Let's just keep going. Okay, good. Very, very simple. And into the hole. Grab my tool. That. Two more and that's the inner row done. Okay. Come on. Good. In and clean away. Got it. Done. Last one for the inner ring. That's good. I almost did it. I almost touched the glue. All right. Okay, I'm just going to work my way around this. Use the sharp end, I think, of this, and move this hot glue gun out of the way, otherwise I'm going to hurt myself. And we should be able to move most of this away, and then I can put the glue exactly where I want it to be. It's still good and strong, so don't worry about it coming out, it should be fine. And I inserted these quite a distance too. That's why I cut the toothpick in half. Got better at removing the glue as I was going, by the way. I wish I'd done a better job with these first ones. Go. Cool. Here's the tricky bit, sticking your hand in there and try not to get stabbed by your toothpicks. It's it's a little bit fiddly. I've only got a couple left to go. At least there's only about 10 more teeth to stick in. Alright, so I'm going to have to make sure as I go, as I clean the glue away a bit more. Cool. 2 more. So my group who are playing on a Tuesday are this campaign is supposed to be loosely based around the concept of the Justice League and Dungeons and Dragons. So they are going to wind up with a watchtower, I suppose. That's what it's called, isn't it? It's like a floating fortress of some kind. I don't want to say too much because if they're watching this video, I might give away too much. But it's going to have a lot of different focuses. It won't be. It'll be more like a TV series rather than a campaign where there's just one overarching threat. And as we progress, I'll see if we wind up. One of the things I tend to do with my campaigns is, although I might have an idea for a villain, I don't know if that villain's going to live, and so I would like to think they will. It's over time as you're playing the game and you discover, well, actually, okay, we finally had somebody manage to escape and they didn't take them out. I can have that as a returning villain. And that's when I start doing that sort of thing. Okay, so I'm going to cut these toothpicks in half just like I did the other ones. The only difference is I'm not going to push them quite as deep. It's 2. Four. 6. Come on, cut. 8. And I'm using a heavy blade too. Still having trouble getting through it. There. Oh, blimey. Alright. 10. That should be enough. Let's check and make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It is. I thought it would, since I was pretty systematic in terms of where I positioned everything. And when we line these up, I want them to stick out just a little bit more than the others, and they're going to be going slightly inward, like so. Maybe not all of them, since that one doesn't want to. And I can adjust the length that they protrude. Okay, alright, I think that's going to work out fine. So we'll start attaching those. Get my glue gun. Where is it? What's that, Charlie? This looks like it could kill an actual player just as easy as it could kill a character. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's got some pointy bits. I was just mentioning before that you don't have to have any of these as pointy as I've got them. You could trim them down. There's no reason why you couldn't just get a pair of decent scissors and just cut them off a little bit and make them less sharp, so that when they're sticking up they're not going to cause injuries to you. And you might be sensible to do that. Actually, I might do that now because I'll probably wind up having to do it later anyway. So we'll just trim off just a little bit on each. Yeah, I know I didn't put scissors in the description, so I'll add that. go. Okay, that's a lot less dangerous there. You happy, Charlie? A lot less hazardous to your health. No pain, no gain. We don't want it to turn it into something that's going to be dangerous to players. That would be bad. Okay, so that's going to change the length that I can have them protruding. I can also trim them off just like I did the ones on the inside, so that's fine too. Alright, let's get the glue gun back into commission. I get it back over here, get the scissors out of the way, and start looking at, now make sure I've got my tool over here so it's quick grab, apply glue, clean glue off. So not quite so much glue along its length, because it's not going as deep, and then into the hole. Clean off with the glue tool. Come on, tool, make it happen. Oh, it's getting messy. There. Cool, that worked out fine. Just keep doing that. Making sure I test my holes first. Remember these, the outside teeth need to be sticking out slightly further. And turn them in a little bit into the center so that they set more outward than inward than outward. Cool. I'll do another one. I can't turn that in too much, unfortunately. It's just the angle of the putty in the drill hole that I created. Alright. Now, if you're wondering, am I going to just keep doing monster making videos for a while? Not necessarily. I did 10 player videos in a row. Like I did a whole series of 10. And I thought, well, okay, so if I did 10 for the players, although I haven't released all of them just yet, I should do 10 for the Dungeon Master. So I am trying to mix things up a little bit, make things a little bit interesting. I'm going to try and work on some more advice videos, not just making cheap monsters. And insert a little bit deeper. I feel like that could go deeper again, but it won't go, so let's just leave it, and it's pointing in as much as I can get it to go, so we'll just take that glue off. Be careful not to burn yourself on the hot glue. And we're getting closer and closer to the completion of this. This is good news. Right, so that's going to fit, that's good. And just get it to stick out the right length. feel like that is good, and it's turned in a little bit, and then we just clean the glue away. That one looks a little bit wobbly, but honestly I don't think it's going to matter because we will go over it and sort of give it a kind of like a gum. I mean, this is essentially, it's gum anyway. We've eliminated a lot of the structure of the worm by just having the front mouth section. Okay. Hold that in place for a little bit. I'm going to let that set just a tad because I feel like that needs it. And that's definitely deep enough and certainly wide enough. Yep. Yep. That hurt. Okay, that was still hot. Okay. That's setting. Clean that off. And 3 more holes, and we've got all the teeth in. What do you know? The end is in sight. If you guys decide to hang around to the end, I will show you the completed, it's not painted, but I'll show you the completed beholder with the little man that I created that I glued on the base, because I have actually finished that. I did that off camera though, which wasn't my intention. I am trying to do everything on camera so you guys can see the whole process. Oh, I need a drink of water. Let's grab the other glass. Okay, alright, so we're working our way around this thing. Okay, that moved a little bit, that's not good, but never mind. As I said, we're going to create like a gum effect anyway, so it doesn't matter. And that'll be, yeah, something like that. Something like that. Is that toothpick a little bit broken? No, that's right. Last one, dry fit, and it's going to be about that height there, I think. I was also assembling a purple worm from the Gale Force 9 miniatures line, and we will get back to that as well. It's just I didn't want to suddenly produce like a whole bunch of purple worm videos when I was working on 2 at the same time, so I'm trying to stagger them a little bit just so you don't get inundated on worms. Not that there's anything wrong with a purple worm, just might not make for great viewing. Okay, so some of these are a little bit wobbly, some of them are good and strong, but it doesn't matter because we're going to work our way around each one of them anyway once I've trimmed everything. I could have left the glue that's there, but what I want to have is more control over where the glue is going to sit when I set my teeth. Okay, alright. Okay, so let's grab the scissors as Charlie pointed out, we have a very dangerous looking mouth right now, and it's like probably going to wind up hurting somebody. So I'm going to go round and I'm going to trim them down, but I don't want to trim them below the inside teeth. So just take a little bit off the top. What's this? There's a bit of glue stuck on the top of that one. Okay, got it. Cool. And then we'll keep going. Alright, there's little toothpicks flying everywhere. And we'll trim this one just a fraction. Okay, so that's blunted them up pretty good. And as you can see, what we have is a big hole, a big donut hole with two rows of teeth surrounded by some stones. And this is going to represent our purple worm. And we can actually stick a miniature inside it, which I think is actually pretty cool. And I think that is actually going to be far more frightening for a player. I mean, this looks cool, but this is far more frightening if you can actually stick a miniature inside there and say, okay, purple worm just got you. I think that's a lot more fun, in my opinion anyway. Alright, so now that I've got that done, we need to just finish this up, tidy things up a little bit, put in the gum, and then I can go and do something else. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to what I've been wanting to do is make like a layer of glue that surrounds the teeth that will help hold it all in place, and also make sure it doesn't look like it's completely part of the original structure. So I'm going to try with a bead of glue on the outside first, let that set, and then I'm going to tackle the inside and then fill in the rest. So what's the easiest way so you can see what's going on? You see that from that angle? Actually, you can see it from this angle here. I was worried about that you couldn't see it, but you can actually see it from there. I'm just going to hold it in the center. There we go, and then work way around. Just round the teeth, fairly close. Just a bead of glue. There we go, and it meets up, and we just let that set a little bit, and that'll help hold the layer of teeth on the outside. And we'll do the same thing in the inside, and then I will fill in the center like I said before. So I just want to let that set just a little bit. While we're doing that, I'll just move some things out of the way. My workspace gets very messy. I'm not so tidy when I start making anything. It's very easy for me to sort of get a bit carried away and make a horrible mess everywhere. And we won't need the drill bit, so I'm going to just loosen that off. What's that, Charlie? Would paint stick to this material? Yes, it will. It'll stick to the stones for sure. Put a primer over it first. Yes, you will need to use a primer. I would advise using a primer. Look, something like the wood isn't going to be too much of an issue, but something like the hot glue itself, you need to prime it. Otherwise it's a bit hard to put paint over it. It doesn't cover very well. Toothpicks aren't a problem. Even the putty's not too much of an issue when you paint over the putty, the milliput that it's here. But hot glue and your stones might be an issue, particularly if there's still a bit of dirt left on them. Which you shouldn't have because you were supposed to clean them, but yeah, I would advise making sure to use some sort of primer. Just because we're making this out of multiple, oh no, I'll put that back in the other one. We're making it out of multiple materials. It's not just made out of one material, it's made out of multiple materials, so that's when I would advise using a putty of some kind, a primer of some kind. Okay. I'll deal with that in a second. Let's just do the inside layer because time is clicking by and our lives are passing while we wait. So on the inside, working my way around each tooth. This is definitely the hardest bit. The outside was easy compared to the inside. Much harder to get onto the inside section. Okay, just let that dry. So we've got 2 rows of glue, and I just want to let that set just a little bit, and then we'll put it in a layer just to fill in the center between the 2 beads of glue, and essentially that's the gist of it. There's not much else to it. It's pretty simple. It's not very hard to do. It would be useless for me to do these sorts of videos if there were things that you just couldn't do in a timely manner. Now, because these are done live stream, and because I haven't sort of sat down and cut and edited everything, you can, if there's a series of these to make a particular monster, you can tell exactly how long it's going to take to make something. So if I spent like an hour and a half or an hour and 22 minutes doing the first step, and it took me an hour and whatever this section is, then you know that's how long it will probably take you. So a project like this is probably going to be, I would say, about 3 hours to complete before you're done. And we'll just make sure this is dry. That's mostly dry, so we're going to fill in the center. Doesn't have to be super perfect. Not unless you're that sort of person who has to have everything come out exactly a particular way. Okay, alright, let's just leave that. I'm going to move the glue gun out of the way. As I said, I don't want to hurt myself. And that's just basically given us the effect of sort of a bit of saliva. So the hot glue sort of represents maybe the saliva around the teeth. You could have a bit of saliva running down the side of the mouth to indicate that it's sort of, you know, it's dripping with saliva. And also too, that glue is having the added benefit of helping to hold our toothpicks in place and change the sort of texture around the mouth. I think that is not too bad. I'm actually tempted to actually put a few little saliva drips in as well, just because it might make it look a little bit more cooler. So we'll do that, and okay, I'm going to go with down and up, down and up. That's probably the best way, so not too many, otherwise it's a little bit too obvious what's going on. Not as what's the word, a bit more random in its nature. There's one there, that's a bit bigger than the rest, and we'll do one here as well. Okay, so we'll just let that dry. So our little globby bits on the sides represent sort of saliva dripping over the sides, and our hot glue, which represents sort of gum and saliva as well, depending on what you want it to represent. I think saliva is the best option, personally. Trimmed off all the little teeth, and yeah, that is our purple worm mouth, ready to go and ready to accept victims. And victim number 1 is going to sit right in here. Now, if you found this video helpful or informative, please share and like the video. If you know somebody who wants to make themselves a purple worm, then by all means, please share the video. It'd be awesome. How's it going, Eric? You like it? You thought it was... I was a little bit worried that people would be upset that I wasn't making a full-blown purple worm and I was only just making the mouth busting out of the ground. But I think this is... It's nice and simple. I think anybody can make it. And once it's all painted up, I think it'll look even better. If you haven't already subscribed, then hit that subscribe button so you can watch more videos like this. I don't just do modeling and sculpting videos. I do painting videos, I do advice for players and dungeon masters. I do how to play. I do a lot of how to play, how to use the roles for Dungeons and Dragons. There's an awful lot of videos like that. And I've got one called How to Play a Wizard, which I'm trying to release the final videos on. There's a whole bunch of them. There's like at least 10. If you want to support my channel, then watch more of my videos can help a lot. I get a small amount of ad revenue from AdSense or YouTube every once in a while, which is helpful. It pays for equipment and materials and my internet connection and power and stuff like that. If you really want to support me though, I don't do Patreon. I'm not really a fan of Patreon. And if you really want to support me and you buy online, I have down in the description affiliate links, which you can click on. You don't have to buy the thing I've linked to. You can go and buy anything else you want. Just go through that link, buy something else online. Most of them are for Amazon. I will put some different ones there. On top of that, when you buy online, I get a small commission, which is why I like it when people use that affiliate link. And you pay the same price. And I get a pretty good deal off the affiliate link, which is why I like it. It's a lot better than the ad revenue from AdSense. Now, if you want to know exactly all the materials and components that I used for this particular build, that will be in the description. If I have missed anything out from the description that needs to be added, then please put them in there. If you have any questions about this particular build, you can ask them in the live stream right now, or later on when this goes up online, you can put a comment in the comment section, because that's what the comment section is. It's there for that very purpose. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. I'm sure there's a 20-sided dice number here somewhere. There we go, there's the 20. There it is. I knew I'd find it. Okay, I'm still here. I'll hang around. There's 4 of you here, so I've got a little bit of time before I have to go and cook some food and get ready to drive into Auckland and run my game. Charlie, you said here, even if you don't like Patreon, would you be interested in creating a social media page? Actually, I'm in the process of creating a Facebook page. It's just taking me a bit longer than I would have hoped. Primarily because, one, that's always a time-consuming process, and it will allow me to put videos up there, or at least, what would I call it? I think it would be more like a short clip of what I'm doing. I'm going to use Facebook. I'm already on Twitter. You can find me on Frederick Wheeler, or at Frederick Wheeler on Twitter. You can find me on LinkedIn. I have a Google Plus website, which of course nobody uses because Google Plus isn't very good. It's called How to D&D. There will be a page on, well, a group opening hopefully shortly for How to D&D on Facebook. You have objectively the best content out there, and I would love to see the channel blow up. I keep hearing people say that I have some of the best content out there. I really appreciate that, Charlie. It's great to hear that you really like my channel, and the channel has been increasing. Oh, you want the progress on the G-Force 9 worm? Yeah, I'll do that, and I'll show you the picture of the completed beholder as well. So don't run away. I'll do that in a second. So look, the channel has got increased quite a lot in terms of subscribers, and the amount of ad revenue that's coming through has really, it's only because of the number of people watching the videos and the watch time increasing that I managed to get the Blue Yeti microphone and the Logitech Brio camera. Now this thing, as long as I'm not doing a live stream, can do 4K. So if I'm pre-recording stuff, which I will do, that can do 4K, which means you get to watch 4K on my channel at some point. I've been struggling with trying to put in stuff on my screen when I'm using my webcam, sort of what I put down the side. I actually decided that the live chat feed wasn't actually that useful to people rewatching it. So this is why I tend to put pictures of a purple worm down this particular video. Alright, so stay put. I will go grab the Gale Force 9 worm and we'll just shuffle that out of the way. That's all finished and ready to paint, but I'll have to wait till autumn when the weather gets a bit colder. So that is the progress on my beholder. I don't know if you guys have seen that video, but this particular miniature took me, I think it was about 3 videos to actually create it. I'll turn it a little bit, you can't really see the angle very well from there. But I put a little person underneath him that's obviously perished. And he's got a big eye. I used toothpicks for the teeth, I used hot glue for saliva. I've used beads for these eyes. I created a little bit of green stuff for the center here, although that could be just a bead if you wanted. I actually made it from a wooden mothball. I know that sounds weird. It's a wooden mothball inside. I drilled holes into it. I fed wire into it. The stalks at the bottom are just to hold it up. So it's not like it's got feet or anything like that. It's just how I laid it out. And yeah, I covered everything with milliput. And I built up sort of something around the eyes to give it some texture, and around the mouth so that it's got some big juju lips. And I actually regret putting the little bumpy lumpy bits on the outside. If I did it again, I would have actually just left it as it was. But to be fair, it doesn't matter because I've got so many beholders that I really don't need this one anyway, which is a shame. If I didn't live in New Zealand, I would be inclined to try and ship some of this stuff to people, because I'm making a whole lot of things that I honestly don't need to use or have any use for, because I tend to buy them. But who knows, you know, things might change. Often I give away stuff to new dungeon masters. I've got a real soft spot for new dungeon masters. I mean, it's not to say that I won't help players, but it's always a big ask for somebody who's dungeon mastering. Okay, so that is the beholder. I'll move that out of the way. I'll lay it there so you can kind of see it. And you wanted some feedback on what's going on with this purple worm from Gale Force 9. So, you know how I created a surface that would fit into here? Well, I did that. It's secured. It's all done. It's fixed in place. And I think that it's going to have a fairly good contact point for it now. I filled in all the gaps, which has made a big difference. So when I'm painting it, should be awesome. Around the base, you can see it's good and solid, and the fact that I glued it onto something else, I think, was a smart move, because it's made it so much stronger. You know, compared to what it was before, I have no. I can't believe that I used super glue and other high quality modeling glues, and what held it together was a hot glue gun, like a glue stick. And they're cheap, so much cheaper. I think I bought a packet of 10 and it cost me $6. And if I went and bought something like super glue, it cost me at least $12 or more for a tiny little bottle, and it didn't do the job. This is one of the things that I don't like about resin, is just the fact that it just gives you hassles. Okay, so it's ready to go actually. I'm just going to why don't we just glue it on right now? Maybe I can just attach it now. I was going to do a video attaching it, and now that I think about it, it's a kind of a ridiculous thing to do. Why would I do that? Make an entire live stream just because I'm about to stick this on. So we'll stick it on right now. What do you think, Eric? I think it's a good idea. Hot glue gun is just warming up because I poked it back in, and that's got a good flat surface to attach it to. I'm going to attach, put glue on this side and then just squash it in place, and then I'll clean any glue off that creates a problem later. Now I could try and pin it, but it's actually going to be too difficult to pin from here and then match it up over here, so I'm not going to worry about that. So instead I'm just going to try and attach it this way. If this doesn't work, we'll be coming back. And hot glue. I know this seems utterly hoary. I just got to match it up, line it. I'm going to have to hold it in place, so I'll chat here while we're waiting for it to set. And I am going to have to go back and actually fill in some gaps as it happens. So I guess doing a second video on it was actually not such a bad idea, considering there are gaps to fill, and it's quite a lot as it happens. And I thought I'd created a piece that was a good fit. This is one of the hassles with resin miniatures, is there's always so many gaps. It'll work, Eric. Yes, you're right. Whoopee whim. Yeah. Well, it's on. It's definitely there. It will require some puttying, and I'll turn it over in a second so you can see. I think if I was to pin it, I would have to pin it from the outside and run pins in this way. I just don't think that it's going to be practical to pin it any other way if I were to pin it. I don't actually know that it's going to be necessary. I think if this sets in place and I fill the gap, you can see the gap underneath. See that, Eric? I don't know if everybody else can see it, but there's a gap underneath which is quite large. And I know you might be saying, oh, that's the hot glue that's creating the gap, but actually no, it's just the mold itself. I don't know if you can you see it? I think you can just make out that big gap that's created that still needs to be filled. So yeah, it's close to being complete. It's almost there. Purple worm, 2 purple worms. Heck, we can put 3 purple worms on here, keep everybody happy. 3 purple worms. 1 purple worm that we made, it's just the mouth. Purple worm from Gale Force 9. And my old purple worm that I bought a long time ago. There we go. I guess that's what we'll finish with, eh? We'll finish there. And I'll catch up with you guys probably tomorrow. I might not be able to live stream on Friday in New Zealand just because I have an appointment, but we'll see how we go. You never know. Things do change. And you guys have a good day, or night, or morning, or whatever it is that you've got right now.